for you today. You are going to notice in a few minutes that it's not me talking. I'm doing this introduction, obviously, and I'm going to do an ending for you in a little while. But the big chunk in the middle, the informational piece, the important part, that's done by my friend Cathleen. She's from Sunny Mountain Patterns. She designs patterns, and she is really awesome at designing patterns for projectors. She has information to share with us about Inkscape and how you can do grading outside of the size ranges with Inkscape, which is good because I don't know how to use Inkscape, and she does. And also, I want you guys to meet her. I want you guys to love her as much as I do so that you'll come join us on our podcast. That's right, we started a podcast. It's called the Small Business Sewing Podcast, and we both have small businesses related to sewing, and we don't know what we're doing. So we wanted to interview a bunch of smart people and let them, give us tips. And we thought as long as we were doing that, we might as well share all that information with you guys too. So please join us here on YouTube, on Facebook, and many different places that podcasts are put out. The Small Business Sewing Podcast. I will have links in the description box. You can also join our Facebook community, the Small Business Sewing Community, and we would really love to have you there and be able to collaborate with you. So here's Kathleen with some Inkscape information.
Hi, this is Cathleen from Sunny Mountain Patterns. I'm doing this recording for Brandon Lynn Daily at Daily Sews and Stuff to show you how to do a little bit of grading or pattern resizing if you already have the pattern already made. So first off, you probably want to get rid of this annoying little square. You can go to File, Document Properties, and then unclick the Show Page Border. And then I'm also going to go ahead and change the display units into inches because I'm American and that's how I roll. So we have to import the file. Now, if you want to go to File, Import, and I'll get to this in a second. If you have a A0 that does not have dashes or projector ready file already, if you hear that, it's a gecko. I'm going to go with the projector ready, and I will show you why A0 with the dashes is a pain, but let's go with the A0 and I'll remember. So I'm just going to leave this as the standard setting because I'm lazy. So it's going to import it. Now, you can tell here that I have a black layer for ease of contrast. The thing is, this is all grouped together, so when you grab it, it moves everything. You're going to want to ungroup it. You can go to Object, Ungroup, or Shift-Control G. Of course, the opposite is just Shift G. And then now you click on it, you can delete that layer. Okay, so here's one of the patterns that I've made. That is pants. So say you want a smaller pant size than this, or a slightly larger pant size than the largest, which is I have a 6T. I'll show you how to do that. So one, if you want to be finagly, is that when you select one of these sizes by clicking on it, the line, you notice that everything is highlighted. It all comes together because it's grouped. I selected not the one I thought I selected. So you can go ahead and ungroup these, but these are they are not layered because you've imported the PDF, which is layered. So if you want to export a layered PDF because you have, say, 2 sizes you need, you are going to have to go ahead before you do anything, change this, add layers here. So there's only one layer right now. You're going to have to add a layer by going to Layers and then Add Layer. So we're going to say that's a newborn size and then do the same thing. Now you're going to have to move this whole chunk of pattern pieces. I'm just Control-Z to undo. You're going to have to move the whole bunch by right-clicking and move to Layer, and then you select the newborn layer, for example. Now you can change, lock it so you can't edit it. At this point we want to edit it, and then hide it if you don't want to. So if you want the sizes to show up as separate selectable layers, you're going to have to do this manually before you go ahead and do any manipulation. So let's pretend all that's got done because I'm lazy and it's late. So what I'm going to do is let's preserve let's say I want to get slightly smaller than newborn, like just a tiny, like a preemie. I'm not saying this is necessarily appropriate, and if you're a pattern drafter, don't be like, this is not how it's done. This will get you close enough to what you need to do, right? As long as it's not a super close fitting outfit, like a corset or something. So for here, let's go ahead and move, I'm just going to move all of these. I'm holding the shift and control. I just want to get these out of the way, so I'm switching between. Okay, Inkscape does not like me. I can't remember that. No, was it Shift Alt? Yeah. It's been a while since I've used the keyboards. I usually use Illustrator now. It's Shift Alt, hold it down, and then click and drag, and you can draw a line through every single thing that you want to take out, or select. So that should have taken everything out. Okay, Inkscape super doesn't like me. Let's pretend it took everything out. So I'm just going to work on here. So say I want a slightly smaller size than what's already presented. First off, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this. Control Alt G. I forgot it already. Shift Control G. My bad. That's right. Paste in places. Control Alt V. Oh Lord. Okay. And sometimes it doesn't take. So sometimes you have to go manually go up to Object and ungroup. I am not concerned about any of the other ones. I just want to make a slightly smaller one here. So please note that if you wanted to do something in between sizes, there is an option. I'm going to see if it will do this for me. I have to ungroup. Nope, still didn't work. I have to manually ungroup these two sizes. So theoretically, if I clicked on both of these by clicking and shift, or do the Shift Alt and then click and drag to select, there's extensions, and it should be under generate from path, Interpolate. So 2 steps means it'll have 2 lines in between these two. 1 step means it'll do 1 line in between the two. So if you already know that you don't need a lot of size, you just need something halfway between the two, go ahead and do that. I'm going to try to apply and see what happens. Nothing happened. It's supposed to make something in between. I can show it to you in Illustrator later if I remember. But this is mainly why I switched to Illustrator, because for me, I have to be able to grade all the sizes. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So here is my slight hack. We're going to start off with these two, and I've left the other sizes here. Generally, for me, I have to change the drafting size after 12 months because the growth charts are different. But within the first, say 3, 1, 2, 3, we're going to connect a line. So I've connected to the left here, draw Bezier or Bezier Pen. Click on this and then extend it out here. Okay, press enter. I hope you can see that it's quite thin. So you can click on it a second time or double click, it'll bring up these points. I'm going to extend it out while trying to preserve the line. Now we need to do this for some critical places. The crotch point, the inner inseam point, and the waist point. The reason why I'm connecting these lines is because this is generally the angle, so left and right direction, that when I grade my patterns, or when a pattern grader, they actually do, people that professionally do this, and only this, when they do that, they move it over a certain amount for each point. So this is basically what we're doing, but just only for 1 size down or 1 size up. Maybe 2. I don't think you can get away with any further than that. Okay, so now we're going to do all the critical points. So here is basically up and down. If you want it to be completely straight, press Shift. No, sorry, that's Illustrator. Control, and that'll. geez Louise. Click on here on the center, control and pull up. I know I'm making this smaller, so I need to go up because you see how this point goes up as you go smaller. Same idea. Okay, let's go do the rest of these. I'm doing this very comprehensive. So we're going to connect these points here, which you can just do the 3, I think is good. 2 is not a great indicator. So double click or press F2 also works. And we're going to extend this in along this. You can kind of eyeball it in along the inside. If you're doing this professionally, eyeballing is not a great idea. But since this is just for your own use, you should be okay. Okay, top of the waist point needs to also come down straight. Well, we don't need another line because it's there. And then the inside waist needs to come in slightly. This is quite possibly the hardest one to do because it's so tiny. I clicked and dragged, my bad. Just click and click, don't drag. So we're connecting this. That's pretty straight actually across. Okay, and enter to get out of it. I might do some shortcuts for Illustrator on accident, sorry. Okay, so here is where we're going to decide how much to move these points over. So you can't just grab this and be like, oh, sweet, I'll just go dunk over here, then I'll show you. You can't, here's the thing. You cannot just go, well, I'm just gonna scale this, done. The reason being, and I'm Control C to copy, Control V to paste. I want to show you, let me move this over. Oh, for geez Louise, I have things everywhere. This is a working pattern, by the way. It's not something I made up for this because I'm lazy. Okay, so here's what's going to happen is I'm going to grab this, press Control to have it scaled to size. Okay, yeah, there. No, it hates me. I'm going to turn off the points to the right so it doesn't snap because it's snapping. So when you get to the bigger sizes, and this is probably useful, I mean, you could probably do this for the very small sizes, like children's sizes, like young children's sizes. When you get bigger sizes, this is not a proportional change. And this is not a lecture on grading, but I need to tell you why you can't just go ahead and shrink it. So you see here, it's not proportionally the same distance from here to here, the crotch point, as it is from the end of the ankle to the end of the ankle. It's much bigger here than it is here. Similarly, this distance from here to here is very much so much larger than the waist difference or the top part of the waist. So the waist corner and the top. You're going to get all kinds of messed up dimensions. Let me delete all that. You don't need, you know what? You don't need any of that. Doesn't matter. All right. So now that we have our lines here, what we need to do is duplicate this and move it for each point on the corners and then trace it over. So I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to go to, so Control C or Edit Copy, which it very helpfully gives you the shortcut keys. And we're going to paste in place with this Control Alt V. Now, before we touch this and move it and forget it, I want to change the color. So you can either go up to Object, Fill and Stroke, which should pop up over here, or some strange place like that. You can do Stroke Paint, change it if you want, or down here you'll see this bar of selectable colors. If you press Shift, so if you press this, it'll just fill it in and you'll be all mad because that's definitely not an attractive color to see that much. But if you press Shift, you can change the color of whatever one you have. So I'm gonna select this color because I want to move this. So we're going to leave that there for a second. We've already remembered to color this. Okay, now we're going to draw a square because this is, to me, the fastest. I don't want, I'm going to say no stroke because I want it to be accurate-ish. I mean, how accurate can be. This is like 4 point line weight. Anyway, so here is about the average distance. You can check these to make sure it doesn't change much, which it doesn't. So I do not have point snapping. I can go ahead and turn that back on, which is on the right. That just means it'll snap to the point like that. It highlights here. So I'm going to have this here. I'm going to, oops, my bad. Control Z is your friend. Okay. I do not know what happened. I think I just accidentally grouped that. Okay, Shift Control G. I don't know how that grouped. So you want to move this over to this point. Okay, so now we know the distance here should just about match up. Now, again, I'm not being super accurate here. If you want to be super accurate, you would actually do this. Get a Bezier pen, connect here and here, press enter, grab this without the Bezier pen, and move it up. And then you would, without, so pretend the score's not there. You would actually then press R. No, that's not right. That's Illustrator. Oh, good Lord. Double click for rotate. This little crosshatch, it's a red crosshatch. I hope you're not colorblind. Needs to get moved down to the corner. And then you're going to have to rotate because that moves the center of rotation. Okay, I'm going to turn off snapping because it's irritating me. So this will rotate it without changing the length. So now if you want to be super accurate, the true length here should be, let's see if I can change that color. Oh, that's horrible. Anyway, the true length should be here to here rather than this is slightly off. So if you want to be super accurate, that's how you do it. I'm not concerned that much with accuracy at this point. Okay, so let's move up until it's this point that we're concerned about resizing, right? So we do the same thing. We're gonna Control Alt G to place, no, ugh, I always do the wrong thing. Edit, paste in place, Control Alt V, my bad. So now what do we, of course, need to make sure you, yes, you repasted it. You actually did it because sometimes it tells you down here. We're going to change the color, and we do not want to use the same colors here because I want to remember which points I'm supposed to be using and don't make it all skewed. So let's try that color. Ooh, that's attractive. Okay, now we need to do a similar thing here between this point and this point. Again, I want to get rid of the stroke so it's accurate. And then we're going to move it along here. Okay, so you notice this is a slight problem. I can't see the point. Double click. Keep it about the same length as possible. If it's clicking to something, if it's clicking and throwing it all off, you're gonna have to turn off this snapping because it'll screw you up. But for now, snapping is quite useful. No, I still don't have it long enough. Let's make that a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, so here, now we need to move. I'm just pressing F1 to get it back to selection tool. Now we need to move this guy over here. We want it to snap to this corner-ish. So it's about on this line. If you want to be more accurate, go move it on the line, right? Beautiful. Okay. So now that we have these points, we need to do this crotch point and then approximately this outside point and this, and then we'll mirror it. You can't see what I'm doing with my hand. So same thing. I always forget the shortcut for this. Paste in place. I don't know why. So shift, we're gonna go pick another color. Let's see, golden yellow, dark orange. Let's do the crotch point while we're here. So you can, of course, select that, no stroke. Oop. Okay, let me do that again. You can, of course, change these squares to the color you're changing the piece, so you remember. I'm quite lazy, and I keep promising myself I will remember, so we're going to line that up. I do not have, oh, I do have snaps on. Should be about middle. This is quite thick. It's made for a projector, of course. All right. Yeah. Last two. Oh, I've already forgotten the shortcut. Paste and place, Control-L-V. All right, let's select, how about a dark blue? Okay, so this one, I'm just gonna eyeball it because it's not worth my time. Okay, and then one more time, Control-V, change the color. Let's go with a nice purple. Okay, so now we need to get something ish with no fill. So I'm going to the center line because I know that this, if you reduce the line weight, would be through the center, mostly because the stroke style will tell you. If I could just click on things. Okay, I don't know. I imported it. It's all messed up. I just know when I generate it, I have the stroke line, the plot lines in the middle. If you want to be more accurate, go ahead and go outside to outside or top to bottom or something. So here, this should be about the same between all of these. Right? Yeah. So this guy goes down. Okay. Now, here's where the fun part is. Oh gosh, that's a lot. You can go ahead and delete these pieces if you don't need them, because they might just get in the way. Just remember not to delete something that you need. I can't remember if the purple was, yeah, the purple's something I need. But this green, this blue, this, and this is not something I need. So we're only doing 1/2. So what we're going to do is take the Bezier pen. We know this is one of the lines we need. No, for crying out loud. I'm turning that off because it's going all over the place. I need to go up here to this dark blue line, right? And then go here to the, this is why I should have kept these the color so I could remember. I think it was the green line. Yeah, because it falls on here. The green. And then I gotta go to the light green. And then go up to the yellow. So now we're trying to basically mirror the shape as best as you can. Press enter because if not, it'll have all that weird curvy thing. Oh, I'm sorry. So what I did was I generated a point and then I clicked and dragged to get this Bezier curve. And it curves. And then press enter to be out of it. So then I want to connect to, I lost it. I have to get this back. Okay, let me click on here. I have to, okay. So actually I don't even need to do anything else because I'm just gonna click and click. So by pressing shift and then click the two that I want. And then this button here says join selected nodes. That's not what I wanted it to do. I must have clicked something wrong. Let me try that one more time. Nope. Okay. We need the Bezier pen again because I gotta click that and then click on there. Okay. Yeah, sorry, press V. So now that I have all the points by pressing F2, this needs to be curved because I didn't curve it originally. You can actually click on here with the pointer and pull it down to get that mirrored curved shape, which is quite nice about Inkscape. You can't do it on Illustrator. I tried. So now we have the shape. Wow, that is quite, there is a little bit of judgment that needs to go into this. So this is somehow messed up. What did I do? Purple is far too, oh, because I moved it. I moved it far too much. Okay, so you do have to do a little bit of skepticism here. Be like, I don't know about this. So I'm glad I checked. You can double click, it'll point at the points. This needs to be much higher up. Okay, if it's starting to give you grief because it's clicking on stuff, just turn this off and be like, oh, go away. Do not worry, you can adjust these and make these level. Okay. Okay, so I'm zooming out. I want to grab that piece. I'm just going to delete that. I don't need it. Also that. There. Too many things all in one layer. Shoosh. Okay, so this is approximately what you want, but you notice this is a little bit too curved. Go ahead and fix that to be mirrored a little bit flatter like this is. You can do that right now. So you can see the handles that come in. You need to make it a little bit less curvy, as it were. This changes the radius, and then the angle changes the how it intersects. So that's probably too shallow compared to everybody else. If you have to, and you want to make it square, you can, of course, add in points, which is this guy. And then you have to change, it says at minimum or maximum. Be aware that it's going to be all over the place. I don't like to do that very much in Inkscape, to be honest. So maybe doing 2 points and then curving would make it easier for you to make it flat. So now you're saying, but this doesn't look like the whole thing. Okay, hold on. This is the cut on fold. I'm going to do it up here so there's more room. So you can copy this, right? And then paste in place, Shift Control V, and then if you press H, that'll mirror it. Or you can go to Object, flip horizontal or flip vertical. So we want to move this over to the left. If you hold Control, it'll keep it in the same line. You want this to be very, very, very slightly overlapped. So I'm using my arrow keys to move it over without using my mouse. So if you select both, and this is actually not, so you see here, and we need to talk about this, this has got a slight gap. That's a problem for the reason I'll show you in a second. If I have a slight overlap and I go to Path, so I select both of these, and I go to Path, Union, which is Control Plus, that's what I usually use. You can see how there's this gap here. This should not be there. And the reason being is that when we made this, we did not make sure that these points were perfectly aligned with each other. Now that's easy to fix. So click here, and then go to, please be here, Object, Align and Distribute. So it is relative to, I have it first selected. You can do last selected, some type, whatever. It's usually first or last selected. And you want align them along common vertical lines. So it should move over just the slightest bit. Okay. So for practice, we'll do this side too. See how it's a little bit off? We want to do both. So there, and then I have it still first selected. Now it's perfectly straight. It falls on that dashed line beautifully. So if we move this together, I'm going to turn on snapping so I don't have to try to align these. All right, so if we click both by Shift, either marqueing over everything, which in Inkscape, you have to do the whole piece. In Illustrator, you just select those. It'll select both. All right, so we do that, and then you can go to Path, Union, or Control Plus, and it'll combine the two. And now you have the whole piece. So now you have a graded, slightly graded pattern. It's one size smaller-ish. I say ish because this is not specifically entirely accurate, because you don't know the actual dimensions that the designer was using, or if the sizes would change between at the smallest size. Anyway, you could of course do a little bit more here to make it more aligned with here. That's the this is probably the more accurate way of doing it. The drafting way is not great. So I'm going to create another file, and I'm going to show you why the dash lines are a pain. I'm going to have to use a different pattern. Let's try the overalls. Okay. So I know that this is dashed. Yes. Okay. So we're putting this in. It will do this eventually. There we go. What? Okay, it totally just pasted the whole. Here we go. It changed it to a different document. Okay, so we're gonna have to do the whole rigmarole again. Shift Control G, or was it? I don't remember. Okay, so it's highlighting everything. I want to get rid of that layer. Delete. Oh boy, I've got a lot of stuff. Okay, so let's pretend all this junk is gone. Okay, so here, say I want this size. I'm gonna Shift Control G to ungroup. I hope that was right. It probably wasn't. Let's do Object Ungroup. Okay. Now you see a problem. This is ungrouped. Well, the problem is it's reading this part of the dash as a different piece than this part of the dash. So when you move it together, it's all kinds of messed up. So you either have to remember to group these individually, leave them ungrouped, leave them grouped with all the other pieces, or connect them all. Now, if you want to do that, I can show you, but it's going to take a long time. I'll just do one piece. So I'm going to zoom in because I need to see all of this. We double click here. So now you can see the points. This is where I press Control Shift. I need to get the other point. So now it has that little box here with arrows. Now this is where the join selected nodes comes in place. So now it should be joined, and Shift. You want those arrows to come up. Join selected nodes. No, now I do not know why it changes it to dashed versus not dashed. I guess this corner was not read as a dash because on Illustrator you can make it where the corners have this type of feature where it's not just here, where it's not just empty. So stroke style. So what if I put a dash? Okay, Inkscape hates me. It seriously does not like me. So I'm trying to demonstrate here. Anyway, where it doesn't complete this, or sometimes you'll just have like this dash won't even be there because of the way the dashes fall. Yeah, Illustrator has a function you can get rid of that. Inkscape does not yet have that function as far as I know. So now you can move these as whole pieces, but if you're going to do the interpolate, and there's a lot of caveats to doing the interpolate. You see all these points? Like they're superfluous points. You don't need these. And it's going to be a pain in the butt if you're trying to do any type of alterations. So what you can do is get rid of these by going to Path and Simplify, but that sometimes screw things up. Okay. So here's the last method for doing in-between drafting, and I know that Marta and Brandon have both shown this idea of doing in-between drafting, of using your pen, but for completeness, we're going to go ahead and do that here. I went back to my original because I don't like the other one because it's dashed. So say you need to go in between sizes, like between these two sizes. Let me get rid of all this other stuff because you don't need that. I'm just clicking and deleting. It deletes everything. Okay, let's leave those two sizes. We have the Bezier Pen. You can, of course, estimate the point between these two. If you're snapping, again, you're probably going to have to turn off snapping here. And then you want to do a slight curve, enter, and then click until it turns red, and go on your merry old way. So you need somewhere in between here and here. Enter. Ish? Yeah. So this is just eyeballing it. This is not nearly as accurate, but much faster than what I just did, which was the official way of doing it. Ish. Okay. So now you have that piece. It's much faster if you can do in between sizes. The problem is if you need to make a bigger size, you can't do this, right? You could eyeball it, which I'll show you how that looks. And I'm not going to generate a bigger size just to show you. But you could eyeball it and say, okay, well, I know that this is a little bit that much bigger and wider, so I'm going to go about here. You could, of course, do your measurements, but that's a whole nother thing. Again, you're eyeballing, right? You want it about along this line-ish. These seem to be about the same. That's good. Curve it, and then point here, and then connect. And then you're gonna have to straighten this out, like how I showed you. So this would be the size larger than the largest size I have. Of course, you can do your measurements to see how long, say, the inseam is, which is where this comes in handy, the measurement tool. So you click on 2 points. No, I'm sorry, click and drag. This is one of the few times you have to click and drag. Now, I don't remember if I changed my display or not. You can go to document properties and then change it to inches. I have it changed to inches. Inkscape just does not like me. I have this problem with Illustrator too. So you might have to convert into millimeters to inches, and I don't know why. But you can tell the distance here. So say you need to know the inseam from when you drafted. The last bit of option is if you want to adjust this. Say you need to make this slightly longer, or let's say slightly shorter. You know your inseam is going to be, say, whatever, measure that out. So make a line and then just change the length, the height into 10.5. Let's say we got a sturdy child, but short legs, right? We want 10.5 for the inseam. Well, you can do that and then click once and then move this square. This cross, good Lord. This cross, you might have to zoom in. So you can also zoom in on the right hand side and move it up. Oh, this is going to be painfully slow. I lost it. Okay, just pretend I got it all the way to the top. Oh, that's why. It's going to be red when you hover over it, and move it up here. Now we're going to rotate because that'll keep that rotation point. Right? Ish. Needs to be more like here. You can, of course, curve this point by just grabbing and curving if you need that. But the length is going to change now, right? So be aware of that. So now I know, okay, I need this to be here. I need to double click. If it would listen. Now you see the problem. Okay, I will show you the problem here with having too many points. We want to move this up. Ish. What a pain in the butt. You have to delete these points. So you can click on it and then press delete. Which is nice. You can't do that in Illustrator. It deletes the whole segment. You're like, no, I just don't want the point there. So you can move this up. It is going to change the angle slightly. And I'll show you here. So Control Z, this is what it looked like before, and then edit, redo. Notice how it changed this. So probably a better idea would be to actually cut the point. I have totally gone and shown you a bunch of other manipulation stuff that you don't need for, right? We want to be about parallel to this line. I've got to stop pressing V because that's the wrong program's shortcut. So we're highlighting both, and then you want to do path and I think it's break apart, because you want this piece. No, it again still hates me. You can always, of course, undo. Difference? No, it's got to be exclusion. Okay. No. Control Z. This is, you don't need to see me doing this. Okay. I figured it out. I had to pause the video. You're going to select both and path division. So now you have two pieces. Then you can move this little guy up, and then do some slight adjustments to make this little, it's going to be a little narrow at the ankle, of course. Now you can do some slight adjustment just to shorten it, like that. That's, again, I have to stop pressing that. So that's compared to edit. That's compared to that, right? Before you change the nodes, you're gonna have to move it all up. That's the equivalent of cutting the pattern at the leg part and then moving it up and then grading off of that. So that's my tips for doing probably not very short, easy and sweet. It is what it is. You do not grow the same amount depending on what your body part is, or it doesn't change statistically. So this is a good way to grade. You can of course eyeball it, but it will not be nearly as accurate as doing the first way I showed you. Maybe I should have done the first way. I will do a very quick tutorial on to do it eyeballing. Yeah, that'll help. That'll be a separate video. Maybe on my channel, I'm not sure. But I hope this helps, and I showed you pretty much everything you need to know on Inkscape to do any type of pattern manipulation to fit yourself, with the exception of the move function. But you can easily solve that by making rectangles or lines the length you need to, and then adjusting up here the height and width. So thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you so much, Kathleen, for sharing that with us. I know I learned a lot, and I'm hoping you guys did too. I can't wait to see you next time for a video that I'll actually be doing. And like, subscribe, share this. If you want us to do another swap or a little more information exchange, please let me know in the comments. You can find one of my videos over on her channel. I talk up her projector patterns because she does amazing with those. And you can catch us together at our podcast, the Small Business Sewing Podcast. So find us in all those places. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Love to hear from you guys. And we just want to thank you so much for all the support that we've gotten so far. All right, I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching my videos. Like, subscribe, and comment.